Washington Times front page for Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Police in Pennsylvania have arrested a man in connection with the assassination of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan last week. Matt Delaney reports New York Police Department officials identified the suspect as 26-year-old Luigi Mangione, who is in custody on 5 counts, including gun charges. The NYPD and FBI officials arrived in Altoona, Pennsylvania, to interview the suspect. Officials say Mangione was arrested while he was eating at an Altoona McDonald's. An employee spotted him eating at the restaurant and recognized his face from news broadcasts and social media. Daniel Penny has been acquitted of a homicide charge in the chokehold death of Jordan Neely on a New York subway train in a case that divided onlookers and set off protests. Matt Delaney reports a New York City jury found the 26-year-old former Marine not guilty of negligent homicide in the death of Neely, a 30-year-old black man with a history of mental illness and homelessness, in May 2023. Penny defended his actions, saying he was trying to protect other passengers on the train after Neely started acting erratically. Last week, the trial judge allowed prosecutors to drop the more serious charge of manslaughter. After 4 days of deliberation, jurors said they were deadlocked on the charge. The Biden administration has issued a call for a peaceful transition to a representative government in Syria as the world comes to grips with the collapse of the regime of Bashar Assad. Mike Glenn reports State Department spokesman Matthew Miller said Syria's new leaders, a loose confederation of opposition factions with some historical ties to violent Islamist groups, now face the responsibility of uniting and governing a divided nation. State Department officials said Assad's refusal for more than a decade to engage in a credible political process at the outset of a brutal civil war, coupled with his reliance on the support of bad actors such as Russia and Iran, contributed to his downfall. A coalition of federal and state prosecutors, judges, religious leaders, and law enforcement officials are urging President Biden to commute the sentences of dozens of federal death row inmates before he leaves office. The advocates, Jeff Murdoch reports, submitted letters asking the president to commute all federal death sentences to life without parole. They said execution is barbaric, racially biased, immoral, and outdated. 40 people are on federal death row. They include Dylan Roof, who fatally shot 9 black parishioners at a church in Charleston, South Carolina, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the surviving Boston Marathon bomber, and Robert Bowers, who killed 11 people at a Pittsburgh synagogue in the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history. The Palm Beach, Florida Town Council will consider a proposal to limit the number of events at President-elect Trump's Mar-a-Lago. Susan Ferricchio reports the council is battling the Secret Service over shutting down the main road around the resort after the assassination attempt on Trump this summer. Commissioners cited the wrong optics and said residents resent the security bubble around the resort that hinders their movements on Palm Beach. Meanwhile, hundreds of guests can stream into the club for parties and galas. And finally, an issue between 2 Department of Homeland Security supervisors may have contributed to the death of an illegal immigrant and delayed the rescue of a Border Patrol agent who later died. Stephen Diner reports a whistleblower complainant says a more senior official in El Paso, Texas, regularly blocked his team from making rescue flights and instead deployed a unit farther from the scenes whose pilots lacked knowledge of the terrain. Customs and Border Protection investigated the allegations and rejected most of them. It acknowledged that the pilot strayed into restricted airspace and was given retraining. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's Libsyn, ads.com today.